I have them. This is a good voice right now.
I know, I heard you yesterday.
Yeah.
Is that from shouting down the Democrats in these budget negotiations?
Yeah, I think somebody put something in my water to shut me up. Obviously, the big question is, what is this implementer looking like? We're seeing pieces of it. I do have concerns that if that implementer becomes too unwieldy, we could lose all Republican support for the budget.
How likely is that?
That's an interesting statement you just made.
You know, the devil's always in the details, but it's my understanding they want to run the implementer with the budget as one full package. So obviously...
Right, two separate bills, one package, though.
No, one bill.
One bill?
Right.
I'm sorry.
So that's going to influence whether or not we're going to be supporting this budget. So we need to have a conversation of what that implementer looks like, make sure it is actually there to implement the budget, and not to force people to vote on bad bills that they couldn't get through the session. What is interesting is, and my question would be, where are the Democrats and the governor on this budget? Usually when you have to pile a lot more stuff into it, does that mean they have to drag their members and bribe them into the room in order to support it? Because it's something that we certainly would have concern about if we're seeing unpalatable proposals that couldn't get through the legislative session ending up in this budget.
You know that there are unpalatable proposals?
I mean, you always...
Which ones?
You always hear, but look, there's issues that we have not addressed yet. In particular, municipal solid waste. That was a huge issue that we should be addressing this session. I fear that a proposal like that could end up in an implementer that could have huge ramifications for every resident and every municipality in the state of Connecticut.
I didn't hear what is I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
The municipal solid waste issue, I'd be concerned if that ended up in the implementer. The commissioner came out very early arguing that we should be assessing our municipalities additional fees to ship waste out of state because our own administration is shutting down all the waste to energy plants in Connecticut. That proposal never really saw the light of day in the Environment Committee. Are we going to see that resurrected in the implementer? And I have concerns we
Can I
are.
ask you a big picture issue? You said just the other day that you were pleased that this was a bipartisan budget, that the Democrats took a lot of the Republican proposals and put it in there. So on one hand you seem pleased, and on the other hand not so much. Why?
Well, because the underlying budget that we negotiated is a bipartisan product, and we still believe that we are going to be supporting it when the day is done. We are starting to hear about policies being rolled into this budget that is not for the purposes of implementing the budget, but the budget is being used as a vehicle to push unpalatable proposals that both of the sides of the aisle might not like, that might end up being incorporated. I mean, we've seen this done before. And I am stating today that Republicans need to see that implementer. Just because it's attached to a budget doesn't mean we're going to vote for it.
What sticks out as unpalatable to you?
Well, as I talked about, I hear rumors about the waste to energy piece, where all of our municipalities are going to be assessed a fee. My question is, what does the long-term ramifications for solid waste look like in the state of Connecticut? This issue has been around for a decade. I believe we should have been investing in our waste to energy plants. We have an administration that is shutting them down. The only alternative is to ship waste out of state, and now we're going to tax our municipalities for doing exactly that. So what is the long-term plan for solid waste? And I would like to know that. I don't want to see it in an implementer. I want to see an open discussion. And that was a bill that was in the Environment Committee that was shut down in that committee. It was unpalatable. So why is it being resurrected now through the budget process, Bill?
Do you think enough is being done on education? We've seen a lot of...
So, there's a lot of funding going into education that Republicans supported. Our budget incorporated how that money was going to be spent using House Bill 5003, which is sort of reworking our education cost-sharing formula. My question is, when this budget comes out, is it incorporating that language? I want to make sure that we are just not dumping money into education, but we are directing it in a meaningful way that's going to help our children. And so that's another piece of the budget that we have to see.